And welcome on into a Wednesday edition as we count down the days to Christmas Day and a big weekend of football. And actually, the college has gone great guns all this week. The NFL gets started off tonight for a week 16, and we got a lot to get to. He is Matt Cherico. I'm Harry Mays. And down on the bottom, as always, in the catbird seat is Eitan Shander. And I guess we got to look back to an awful Monday night football game. But even in awful games, a couple of the picks that you guys threw out there hit. So let's get started right there.
Well, let me just say this. I must have blacked out. I don't know when I blacked out because I must have done this on this. It says on the bet slip that it was done at 10:02 Monday morning, which would be when we record. Is it
right?
Not?
Yes. Yeah. So, right at the start of the show.
I don't know what happened. And look, there have been plenty of times where I've done live shows, recorded shows, and have placed a bet as I'm doing that and realized that I can't do two things at once. Mm-hmm. So I opened up Caesars this morning to check something, and I was like, something's off here. Did they void something? Like I'm up a little more than I should be. Right. And I scroll all the way down. I'm like, holy shit. I must have taken Marshall, and I did. I took Marshall on the show minus 12, even though we were like, oh, way too many points for UConn. Right. So that's the big thing that I wanted to change here, and I have the ticket to prove it, but I must have blacked out. It's one of the few times where I've made a mistake while doing a show that benefited me.
I'm getting all these texts from you during the game, and I wasn't really watching it until the fourth quarter, because I couldn't have cared less about that game. But you're like, I hate to do it to Randy Edsall. I'm like, does he know Randy Edsall no longer is the coach there?
Yes. I just call him the Fighting Edsalls.
Okay, all right. Well, Edsall was a car that didn't last very long.
No, that's why.
It wasn't a very good car, so that's aptly named as they got whipped by Marshall.
No, I know Cherico hit the under. We got the first half, each team getting a field goal. That's going to make an appearance tonight. So you go ahead and brag all you want. Look, that was a game where I even felt dirty winning a bet. It was so bad.
Well, how about being dirty winning the under at the end of that game, the way that thing played out? That could have easily gone over with Green Bay in that final possession. But they kind of drug it out and it ended up going under. How often do you see that? But all right, so you guys hit a couple of props. I did not hit the prop. I had the over in Baker Mayfield's passing yards. He stinks. He had that one glimmer last week with the Rams with the comeback, and he's right back to being Baker Mayfield. He stinks. Yeah, and the Akers under. All of a sudden, Akers ran for 68 yards or whatever it was.
I didn't realize it was going to be that cold, Harry. Like that cold. I knew it was going to be cold, but yeah, and like I played the Akers thing too. I told you I think that's good. Look, I think to Akers, go right back to that. Their offensive line is in shambles. He's not going to run as much. And now, even this week, like the Rams, I think are an easy fade this week against even Denver because of how they're just awful.
Yeah, they really are. But you bring up the weather, and that's a great segue because we have severe weather coming in that's going to affect a lot of these games, including tonight's game, because I was looking at a weather forecast on VSiN for the Jags at the Jets. Jags currently sit at a 1-point favorite. The total is all the way down to 37.5. I think it opened at 41 or 42. So that has been maybe some of the value or all the value might have been bled out of that. Who knows? But they're going to have a steady rain tonight, according to what I saw, and 10 to 15 mile per hour winds in MetLife. Not an easy game, not an easy place to play with wind.
No.
So,
what do we think is going to be the cap for the win? Right? Like if it's 10. So what I've heard, what I've seen, all the times that we've been in interviews with kickers, what have you, 20 seems to be the magic number. Right?
Well, you could have gusts to 20. I'm sure.
Seeing 15, up to 15 mile an hour winds, 46 degrees, maybe some light rain.
So I think even 15, Harry, and Matt, as crazy as that may sound to the naked ear, I'm telling you, I think 15 impacts everything but the kicking. When you get to 20, now it's like, okay, teams may not kick from, 45 out. Like that includes where you're kicking from. But I still think you'll see some long kicks today. Tonight, or what's today? Wednesday. So I'm not as adverse to go to the kicking prop, but I do think, to your point, wind is going to impact. Look, we're also talking about, no knock on Trevor Lawrence, but he's not Justin Herbert cannon, and he's not, Mahomes savvy. He's still on the up.
Yeah.
And the other guy is atrocious.
Oh,
right now.
he's a crapshoot. I mean,
so exactly. He's so volatile. Maybe that's a better way. He's so look, he had numbers last week. I don't want to krill Zach Wilson, but he's so volatile that I think those guys are susceptible to the wind, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. In fact, I saw a rushing prop for Trevor Lawrence that kind of looked interesting to me. I went back and looked at his games, and 7 times this season, he has rushed for well over 15 yards or more. And the prop is sitting at 13.5 on DraftKings at -115. I'm thinking of taking a bite out of that over, especially if the weather impacts the way it's predicted to be. Passing might be at a premium. He's going to be under a rush from that good Jets front, good Jets defense. I could see him, taking a couple of swings at running the football.
I like that for sure, because when you look at the Jets, what's the strong point of that defense? It's getting to the quarterback. It's making him scramble out of the pocket, keeping him under pressure. I definitely like that, and I'm going to go with that same trend of kind of a slow moving game because of this weather. So I'm looking right now, I took the Jags at +3.5 in addition to an alternate total of under 43.5. You add those two together and it comes in at +111.
Wow.
So for the value of that, I really like it. I honestly can't see the Jags losing this game, but I gave the 3.5 point cushion in case you get hooked by a field goal, just so you're safe from that. And then 43.5 for a total in this weather, in the cold. I mean, just looking at the Thursday night primetime games, they've all been low scoring, very kind of slow on the ground. So I'm going to stick with that trend. And
you're getting 6 points of value there too right now with where this total sits. And I agree with you. Lawrence,
did you drop it to?
+3.5 and 43.5.
43.5. Yeah. And it's 37.5 now. So.
Yeah. So I don't think, and this is what I've been doing. All right. So I'm on the other side, as we talked about this on Monday. So I'm on the Jets money line -110. But what I did here yesterday was, I don't think you need to push it to 2 extra points, Matt. And you can stay at because 41 is the key number here, right? So you may, but to your point, right, if you push it up, now you have that cushion, but you're sacrificing a little bit of the return.
The value.
So what I did is I pushed the Jets to 8.5 and went under 41.5. And that's just a -110 bet. That's basically just a -110 bet as a same game parlay. But what I've done here is I've significantly added the cushion on the Jet side. I mean, that's a heavy lay on the Jets +8.5. And I've covered even an 8. But the other side of it is the under, where I've sacrificed just those 2 points overall shouldn't make a difference, but to the books, they're going to give us a little bit extra return. So I love where you're going. I would just, and it's not even it's just an offer of a suggestion, which is, I don't think you need to go to 43.5. I think you can still stay at 41.5 because you're over that key number of 41. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I like it either way. Honestly, I see a lot of value in both of those. So
what was the initial one that you did that with the under with? Just
under 43.5 and Jags +3.5.
So, all right, let's keep it moving. I'll come back to this. I'm just curious what that comes to at 41. But
all right, you want to stick with the pros?
Yeah. The only other thing I wanted to add here, the first half field goal. I'm going to play this tonight. All right, and I don't have any major deep analysis, but it's closer to the end of the year. I'm trying to find teams that are still playing for something so it's three things. All right. Both teams have to be playing for something. All right. That's something. Last month of the year, both teams have to be playing for something. There has to be a tight spread. I would say no more than 3. Even 3.5 might be a little too much, right? Because books know that you're getting that half. And the last is, I think the total has to be no higher than 41 for me. Now, if I can find those 3 in the final month of the year, I'm going to play yes, there will be a tie after 0-0. Because I can see a tight game here. I can see back and forth here. The only thing that's really going to screw me, right, is a 2-point conversion or a missed extra point. But I think you can get the 7 field goal, the 4, another touchdown, a field goal. Like, I think you're going to get a tie game after 0-0. So I'm going to put a unit on that tonight, and we'll come back to this one on Friday.
All right, very good. There is a game tonight in college as well.
Yep.
Or actually tomorrow night
Thursday.
I have interest
Well,
there's a game today that I have no interest in. Okay. In fact, I tried to just erase the fact that it's taking place. But we'll get back to the Air Force game for tomorrow night. But let's just stick with the pros for right now. 2 other weather impact games, according to what I read, are Saturday games.
Saturday?
Yes. In Cleveland, the Saints go to the Browns. Browns are a 2.5-point favorite. The total is all the way down to 31.5 when it opened at 36. 20 to 30 mile an hour winds with gusts to 40 miles per hour is what I'm seeing here. So just factor that in if you've got any type of feel for that game.
Yeah, but you lost 5 points already if you're jumping in. What if you did this? What if you just waited? Look, if you missed the bet, you missed the bet. That's fine. But what if you waited and just to see what happens in the first
game?
quarter? Yes. Yeah. Let's say Nick Chubb breaks a 70-yard touchdown in the first series, and now all of a sudden it's 7-0. And then, that other team just responds with a field goal. Now you got 10 points in the first 7 minutes. Maybe that jumps back up to where it closed, or maybe you're only taking 2 less points instead of 5. That 34. I like what you're thinking, but it's hard for me to take this now 5 points south of the total.
No, I agree. I'm just bringing it up because of that fact that it actually happened. The Bills at the Bears is another big weather game. Bills at -9. It opened around 9.5, maybe 10 somewhere. I don't know, but I think it was 9.5. The total's now 40. It was 43.5, and they're expecting 20 to 25 mile an hour winds with gusts to 35, blowing snow, and the feels like temperature. Are you ready for this? It's going to be -10 degrees. This is like old school soldier field football with Dick Butkus.
Yeah, I don't see any player props up just yet on that game, but I'm already loving Justin Fields all over the place.
Yeah.
So I mean, he commented earlier in the week on how he is looking to break that rushing record of Lamar Jackson. And he said, what does that come out to? About 70 yards per game. So you factor in the fact that he's looking to run. He's eager for it. On top of those factors right there, plus Chase Claypool's out, Darnell Mooney is out. His best receiver is Equanimeous St. Brown.
Right.
I can't imagine that they're relying on him. I don't think he's fully healthy either.
He got banged up last week. Yeah, against the Eagles.
So I think Justin Fields is going to be running all over the place in that game. And truthfully, we just saw the kind of backfield of the Dolphins run all over this Bills defense. So who's to say that
188 yards.
Exactly. Yep. Who's to say Justin Fields can't have his game? I like it at home too.
But the fact that he's looking for that is worrisome to me. Like, he's thinking about a record here. His team stinks. He stinks as a full-fledged quarterback. But all he's thinking about is getting a rushing record.
I thought that as
Buffalo's
well.
Probably aware of it too, right?
Yeah,
that's true. I thought a little bit of that as well, but then again, like in the conditions and everything like that, like I really just don't feel that even if you plan against it, I don't think that they're going to be able to fully stop him.
He takes a lot of hits, man.
He does.
Like, he's one of those quarterbacks that likes to be mobile, but he doesn't. He just gets hit.
Yeah. Yep. Next to Jalen Hurts, he's actually the second most contacted quarterback outside of the pocket. So I can understand the worry there, but overall, I like that one. And then keeping it in the Saturday games, looking at the Bengals and Patriots right now. I took the Bengals at -2.5 just so I don't get hooked by a field goal. And then I took their team total over 22.5 points. And you could add those two together for +110. They've hit this total easily 5 out of their last 6 games. And against the Patriots defense, who just seems to be on the downward slope, I really like this one. And as we've said the past few episodes, the Bengals are hot and they don't show any sign to stop right now.
What's the weather going to be like up there, though? That's going to be a real cold, windy affair. And windy,
yeah, it's looking right now. It says 24 degrees with scattered clouds. So,
but the wind is
10 to 15. So similar conditions in New York.
I've been in that building. It ain't fun.
No. All right, you ready for this monster teaser, Harry?
Yes.
It includes tonight's game. Okay,
and we're going through 0 here. Did I hear a rumor?
Yeah, I mean, this is terrible. We're doing so many things right. All right, but it's a 13.4 leg monster teaser. So this, at the time, the Jets are -1. So the Jets are now +10. And the reality is that I probably screwed myself there because there's no real benefit of going through 10 if you're not going through 14. But I'm through multiple numbers at least. Okay.
3, 4, 7. Yeah.
Yeah. And technically 0. Detroit is now up to 10.5, which again, it looks cool at 10. But the reality is I've moved them through 0 and through 3, 6, and 7, and 8 to a lesser extent. Pittsburgh is +10. Minnesota is +10. Come on.
Wow.
No way that loses.
Oh, my goodness.
No way that loses. Not even Minnesota could screw that thing up.
Wow.
I tell you, I don't trust Detroit on the road, so I bumped them up to 10.5.
Now, what does that pay?
Oh, it's like this is a minus. It's always -140.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you have to lay 140 to win one. And, the reality is that you're adding 13 points to 4 legs. So,
Jesus.
that's it.
Wow. Where was that available?
It's always on DraftKings.
DraftKings.
That's their thing. Their 4-leg monster teaser.
4-leg monster teaser. I love it. I love when you go through 0. It just does something. It just does something to me.
I know.
All right. Now, the Eagles, we got to talk about this Eagles line because since we did the last show, the Eagles were getting 1 on the road. And then all of a sudden in the afternoon, I get a text saying, what's going on with this Eagles line? And I'm like, I don't know, because I wasn't really paying attention. I do some digging and I find out that all of a sudden it was announced that Jalen Hurts hurt his shoulder in the Bears game. Taking a hit outside the pocket, running, kind of came down hard on that shoulder, and the line went to 6. Eagles +6, 6.5. Now it's back down. I'm seeing it around 4.5. And now they're saying that he's not necessarily out. This could be gamesmanship on the part of Sirianni, because all they need to do is win 1 game here between the next 3 games, and they clinch everything.
Right. Come on. Look, the only thing dumber than withholding Miles Sanders for nearly a full half of football would be to start a quarterback who has a sprained throwing shoulder in a game where you only need to win 1 of 3 to clinch home field advantage, like throughout the entire conference.
Yes.
Right? So there is no way in hell that there's no reason for Jalen Hurts to be.
He heals fast, though, Eitan. We heard it from the coach yesterday.
That's ridiculous.
He's an incredibly fast healer.
Everybody here, all 3 of us, has access to somebody in the medical community. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's your doctor, if it's a family member, or if it's a significant other who has a family, whatever it is. Somebody has gone to some form of medical, nursing, what have you, in your reach. And not one of those people will tell you that this person in Jalen Hurts with a sprained throwing shoulder should be back out there in a week throwing a football.
Yeah.
It's impossible for me to believe, Harry.
I'm with you. I'm with you. All right. So where are you then? If it's you're convinced it's going to be Minshew.
Can I be honest? I don't see too much of a gap between Gardner Minshew and Dak Prescott. I really don't think Dak Prescott is this great quarterback that everyone's touting him as just because the Cowboys are kind of on a better run in the second half of the season. He still has the highest interception ratio. 10
interceptions in his last 8 or 9 games.
Yeah. He's been truthfully atrocious. And I don't doubt that Gardner Minshew could get it done against this Cowboys team. So honestly, at plus 184 on the money line, I'm willing to sprinkle somewhat of maybe a quarter to half a unit on that. And then the spread of plus 4.5. I'm taking that one all day.
Yeah, I mean, so the teaser I got in right away.
10.5?
Well, no, that was when they were 1, remember?
Oh, okay, at 7. So you got it at 7.
That's the Pick'em, Kansas City, -3, Philadelphia plus 8.5. No, it was the 7-point teaser. Because I wanted to bring Tennessee down to a Pick'em. I didn't trust that, and Kansas City to 3. So I'm technically locked in there. The only thing that, again, I go back to this whole thing about 10. 10 isn't a number that you should be pushing to tease through. So I was waiting for this thing to get to 7 so I could run the Eagles at 7 straight up, which I'm going to hammer that 2 times over, and also tease them up to 14 because now you're really doing something at 14 as opposed to 10. So I was sitting there, fellas, just refreshing, like hoping that FanDuel or BetMGM or one of these places would hang from 6.5 to 7 and never got there. And now, as Matt mentioned, it's down to 4.5. I wonder if once Jalen Hurts is out, people will rush and start to pour on Dallas, and
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
I can get Philadelphia at 7 then. I'm not going to bet Philadelphia. Not that I don't like it, Matt. I'm just not going to bet Philadelphia until I can get to 7, because then I can take them +7 and also +14.
I don't know if it gets to 7 though. I think it maybe 6, 6.5. It
Which I think I'm going to have to
tops
pass
out.
again.
Yeah.
Although, Matt, if you already took it at 4.5, you might as well slam it at 6.
I was even thinking maybe like during the game itself, say Dallas goes up by a field goal or so. I still think that the Eagles could come back from, 3 points, even a touchdown, and still win that game. We've seen Dallas blow leads all the time this season, and division games in the NFC East, you just never know. So I was even willing to jump in live if they're down just a few points.
This is also a situation where if you're Sirianni, I agree with you, Eitan, from a medical standpoint, but even from a gamesmanship standpoint, this is the Dallas Cowboys, who are a 5 seed. They're not going to get any better than a 5 seed.
Right.
So they win against Tampa, let's say week 1 of the playoffs in Tampa, 5 versus 4. Then they're coming to Philly. There's no need to run Jalen Hurts out there and show more. Like vanilla this offense down as much as you can. Run Minshew, do whatever, treat it like a preseason game. You don't need to win the game and show any more cards to your division rival.
I think you're onto something, Harry, and I'm just going to stop you just at the end of that, because I don't even think you need to run like vanilla plays so much as the difference between Minshew and Hurts is a 5-star Michelin chef teaching an up-and-comer how to create a dish. That 5-star Michelin chef is always going to present it in this unique way every time, where the up-and-coming chef is going to do it more cookie cutter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cut and paste.
More
cut and paste.
basic. Yeah.
So the same play, I think, is going to look so much different if Hurts runs it in a month from now as opposed to what Minshew. But I think you're right, 100%. I just think I don't even know if they need to reduce the type of play. But yeah, I mean, both of you guys are exactly right. The gap between Prescott and Minshew is much closer than Hurts and the rest of the league outside of Allen and Mahomes right now. Here's another thing too. Dallas, we just saw this, and we saw this with Minshew last year. When a backup comes in and you don't change a lot, everything around you can get better. Like, would it surprise you if all
the backup goalie theory? Yeah, absolutely. And plus, Gardner Minshew, he's going to be wanting to win one from Mike Leach.
Oh, you're right.
Throw
one in the air. We don't have any Leach alums on the the other side, right? Because they're going to be doing the same thing.
I'm not sure if there's there probably is. I mean, the guy was so many different places.
Right, exactly.
But I doubtful anybody will be touching the ball as much as Gardner Minshew.
Correct.
Okay, because he wasn't at Mississippi State when Dak Prescott was there.
Correct.
Okay, that was Mullen.
Real quick, before we get out of here, are we going to I don't know if we're going to bring this up. I know we have to get out of here. So are we going to talk about the rumor that Temple is disbanding their men's basketball team after losing to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore?
Eastern Shore. Yeah, that might have been the end. I mean, this is rock bottom. I believe we finally hit rock bottom with Temple men's basketball, with a season that started with such promise, getting Caliph Battle back into this lineup, which brought basically everybody back of note, adding a few key younger guys, and they are a absolute mess. Wow.
The Wagner loss would have told us all that we needed to know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the loss to Penn, really was like, I think where it really went over the cliff.
Yeah.
And now you're losing to Maryland Eastern Shore. I don't even know what conference they're in.
Ken team?
They're in like 300 range.
Oh, Jesus.
For the Ken Palm. In fact, there was a tweet this morning. Did you see that from Varun Kumar, who does a really nice job? It's like the first time ever that a Temple team has lost to a team rated that low. It was at home. Granted, there was only 400 people there, not much of a home court advantage, but they stink on ice, and I'm embarrassed.
They're just better than that Bob Watson made up school.
I don't know. I really don't know. Bob Watson. All right, there's a college game tomorrow night. Actually, Air Force and Baylor are getting together down in Fort Worth, Texas. And the weather for that night is going to be super windy and super cold. It's going to be an awful place to be. Air Force rushes the ball for over 300 yards a game. We all know what they do with the option. Baylor's had a couple of 2.5 weeks to prepare for this once this game was announced.
Yep.
I don't think it's ever enough because you just don't see this kind of offense. They're a pain in the ass to deal with. They're getting 4. Baylor's lost their last 3 games. They fired their defensive coordinator and their special teams coordinator 2 weeks ago. So you're dealing with, with a whole different coaching structure in preparation for this game. I'm taking Air Force plus the 4. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the game outright. Baylor doesn't give 2 shits about this game.
Doesn't Air Force run the same play every single time?
Basically, they're like Navy and Army with the triple option and,
Oh my.
Yeah.
Is this just like you're so concerned that the Thursday night NFL game is going to be such dog shit that you have to have action on football?
Well, absolutely. Especially because the NFL game's on Amazon too. I could just have this on my regular cable.
Okay, all right. Method for the madness.
Yeah.
Harry, I've got no other choice but to tell you on your logic, okay?
Go Air
Force. I'll be watching Air Force run the same damn play every time.
Hey. Run it until you stop it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. Anything else? Any NBA from you guys? How's that been going the last 2 nights?
Both of us are pretty well. I'll let Cherico take the center stage here. I'm going to hit you with NBA on Friday.
All right.
And nothing yet.
Okay. Yeah, we hit our total the other night on the Oklahoma City Thunder and Portland Trailblazer game. That actually ended up hitting, I think, at the end of the 3rd quarter. That
you
game
said
finished
that.
Something crazy. Damian Lillard was just pulling up from everywhere, and honestly, there was no defense being played.
He hit the scoring record, didn't he? He passed Clyde Drexler.
He passed, but the Thunder went outright.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, it was a very Vegas game outside of literally the over. So I enjoyed hitting that, and we also ended up hitting that Giannis Antetokounmpo double and a win. That was at plus 158. So that was definitely something nice. Looking tonight, I really like the Brooklyn Nets. I have Kevin Durant 30+ points in Brooklyn to win, going up against the Golden State Warriors.
On a back-to-back.
On a back-to-back, just coming out of MSG. They got absolutely spanked by my Knicks last night, and I anticipate the same thing happening again tonight, honestly. Their defense is just not there. It's not the same Golden State Warriors team that just won the title. They give up a lot of points, and they're really susceptible to small forwards and power forwards especially getting to the rack on them. So I think Kevin Durant's going to have his game tonight. And then I was also
is that money line? That's not spread, right?
No, that was money line.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
12.5 is a lot, even for a bad team.
Yeah. No, I agree. I wasn't going to touch that one, but money line straight up for sure.
Might have to bring back Rick Barry.
Look,
back in the day, and Coach Al Addles.
Yeah,
right. Beat the Bullets back in '75.
All right.
And then I just had the Knicks -2 as well. They're going up against the Toronto Raptors. The Knicks play really well at home, and they're looking to take 9 straight. So I think they keep the momentum going, and like I said, they play really well at MSG. It seems like everybody's found their role since they've reduced to a 9-man rotation. So I like that.
Wow, and it wasn't a couple of weeks ago we were thinking that the coach might get fired.
Oh no, this has changed, and they've turned that around.
Drastically.
And Barrett around Randall. Even when Randall had a slow game, was it against the Warriors?
Yeah,
last night.
Jalen Brunson's just
everybody's picking
honestly.
up. It's amazing. That's going to be a tough. If those two teams in Philadelphia and New York play each other in the playoffs, that's going to be must-watch basketball right there.
Yeah, well, if it's in the second round, you're damn sure the Knicks will advance.
Yep. Hey, real quick, how is St. John's getting 5 on the road? Like, I know Villanova has their kid back now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their star Frosh is here and all. But how is Villanova laying 5? Who are they to lay 5 at home against St. John's, who's winning games?
Yeah, St. John's is pretty good. I don't know. I mean, I really haven't been keeping tabs, but I know they looked pretty good when they played Temple back a couple of weeks ago.
I smell a St. John's first half here.
Wow. There you go.
All
right. Enjoy the football, Thursday night football. The bowl games will be back on Friday.